Okay, what if I told you that words like predict, verdict, dictionary, and indict are all secretly connected? I know, at first glance, they look like entirely different spelling bee words, right? Like one is about the future, one's from a courtroom, one literally sits on your bookshelf, and one is a super serious legal accusation. But if we look just a little bit closer, they all share this hidden DNA. They actually all come from one ancient, powerful idea, and that is saying. Today, we're going to completely unlock this mystery, and we're going to turn you into a full-blown master word detective.
So welcome to this explainer. Today we are cracking the code on literally one of the most powerful Latin roots in spelling bee vocabulary. We're talking about the root dict. By the end of our time together today, you are going to see English vocabulary in a completely different way. We're going to set the stage for actually decoding words rather than just blindly memorizing them. So get ready to unlock the ancient power of the speaking root and maximize your potential to tackle pretty much any word thrown your way.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the ancient origin.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To really understand these words, we got to transport ourselves way back to ancient Rome, where they spoke Latin, because this is exactly where the foundation for thousands of our modern English words was poured. In ancient Rome, the everyday verb they used was dicere. This really simple verb just meant to say or to speak. But over centuries, as language shifted and evolved, this ancient verb transformed into a really powerful English building block, the root DICT. Whenever you see these four letters DICT bundled together in a word, you immediately know the core meaning. Something is being said, spoken, or declared.
But here is the absolutely crucial point we need to remember. In English, DICT isn't just about casual chatting with your friends. No, it carries the heavy weight of declarations and official statements. We're talking formal speech, serious legal judgments, commands given by authority figures, formal predictions, and even highly structured language systems. Basically, when DICT shows up, the speaking is important. It's official. It's a word meant to leave a lasting impact.
So to really master these words, we need a complete shift in mindset. Let's look to the brilliant Professor Quill the Owl, who says, spellers don't memorize words, they investigate them. I absolutely love this. I really want you to stop relying on pure memory. Rote memorization is eventually going to fail you when the spelling words get too long and way too complex. Instead, I want you to start acting like an analytical codebreaker. When you see DICT, pull out that magnifying glass and ask yourself, is someone speaking? Is a formal rule being declared? Let's investigate.
Moving right along to part 2, core words and predictions.
Let's see how this builds our vocabulary. We're going to start with the absolute foundational blocks of the DICT family tree. Here are the core members, and let's walk through them. First up, dictate. This literally means to speak words aloud for someone else to write. Honestly, it's the closest to the ancient Latin meaning. Add a suffix to that and you get dictation, which is the actual act of listening and writing those spoken words down. Then we have diction. Now listen up, please pause and pay super close attention to this one. Diction is your choice of words when speaking or writing. It's a super common trap to think diction means pronunciation, but it absolutely doesn't. It is all about word choice. And finally, dictionary, originally a collection of spoken words, and now it's our structured book of words.
And this brilliantly illustrates the mathematical magic of spelling. Think about how swapping a simple prefix completely changes the direction of the speaking root. It's wild. We take pre, which means before, add our speaking root, and predict literally means to say before it happens. But if we swap that prefix to contra, meaning against, we get contradict, which means to speak against or oppose what was said. See? You aren't just memorizing spelling, you're assembling equations. It's like a giant puzzle.
All right, let's step into part 3, law, power, and authority.
Now let's totally shift our focus. We are stepping out of the classroom and we're entering the courtroom and the throne room. This is where DICT words hold immense power and actually shape society. Let's look at the ultimate legal word, verdict. If we break this down into VER, which is an ancient piece meaning true, and DICT meaning to speak or judge, well, when a jury delivers a verdict, they are literally speaking the truth. It represents a formal, spoken judgment that finalizes a legal case.
Let's rapid-fire decode the rest of the authority branch, but let's make sure we catch every single detail here. A dictator is one, notice the ator part, who speaks commands. An edict is a formal spoken command by a king or leader that becomes actual law. Now check out these advanced legal words. Jurisdiction. We take juris, meaning law, and attach it to dict. It quite literally means the authority to speak the law over a specific area. And interdiction, from inter, meaning between, it means speaking between rules to block or forbid something, kind of like a government prohibition on certain exports. Which brings us to part 4, blessings, curses,
and farewells.
We are transitioning now into the most magical, traumatic, and honestly emotionally charged branches of the DICT family tree. These are words that have the power to lift up, tear down, or say a final goodbye. Notice the striking contrast here between good and bad words. If you take the prefix bene, meaning good, and add it to our speaking root, you get benediction, good words spoken, like a blessing given by a priest. But if you take mal, meaning bad, you get malediction, bad words spoken, literally a curse. And finally, veli means farewell, so a valediction is a farewell speech. And you know what? You actually already know this concept from school. The student who gives the final farewell speech at graduation is the valedictorian, the farewell speaker. Pretty cool, right?
Before we leave the authority words behind, we have to touch upon this highly advanced vocabulary word, dictum. A dictum is a formal statement or saying, and you'll often see it used in legal or professional settings, like the judge's dictum was final. It really represents the absolute, pure essence of a formal statement. Oh, and note that the plural form is dicta. If you drop this word in a spelling bee or a written essay, you are showing some incredible mastery to your judges.
Now, for part 5, the silent letter trap.
Warning, word detectives, we are now entering highly dangerous spelling bee territory. Seriously, this is a trap where so many spellers fail, and I want to make sure you are fully prepared to navigate it. Pay close attention to this next word. The word is to formally accuse a suspect, like what a grand jury does. Now your ears hear the word indict, but your eyes must see the spelling INDICT. The C in indict, and also in its noun form indictment, is entirely silent. This is a massive spelling bee trap. Because it comes from our speaking root, that C absolutely has to be there to preserve the historical DNA of the word, even though we literally don't pronounce it. So always visualize the spelling and don't just trust your ears.
All right, let's wrap this up with part 6, the Master Speller's Strategy.
So, we have thoroughly explored the history, the core words, the law, and the traps. Now, let's synthesize everything you've learned into a repeatable, foolproof pattern that you can use anytime you face a brand new vocabulary word. Now, what's really interesting about this is the transformation pattern. One of the most important insights for advanced spelling is seeing exactly how action roots turn into noun results. Notice the frequent spelling bee transformation, where dict turns into diction to form a noun. Predict becomes prediction. Contradict becomes contradiction. Dictate becomes dictation. Once you see this pattern, dict plus ion equals an action or result noun, you can confidently apply it across the entire English language. Here is Professor Quill's ultimate 5-step strategy rulebook. Honestly, consider this your tactical checklist for facing any DICT word. First, identify the prefix. Is it pre, contra, bene, male, juris? Second, check if the root implies saying or speaking. Third, look at the ending. Does it become a tation or meant noun form? Fourth, remain on extremely high alert for silent letter traps like indict. And fifth, decide the theme. Is it law, authority, or a blessing? If you follow these methodical steps, I promise you, you will crack the code every single time.
And that brings us right back to our core message for this explainer. You don't memorize spelling bee words, you decode them. By understanding that DICT comes from the ancient Latin dicere, meaning to say, you no longer have to blindly memorize 20 isolated, totally unrelated words. You just remember one ancient idea, speaking, and use your knowledge of prefixes and suffixes to decode both the meaning and the spelling. It is a massive advantage for your vocabulary, and honestly, it's a tool you'll use for the rest of your life.
Master word detectives, you now hold the ancient power of DICT. You can navigate the courtroom with verdicts, issue edicts with authority, and never, ever fall into the silent C trap of indict again. So, what linguistic mystery will you decode next? I really want you to take this mindset into every single book you read. If you found this explainer engaging and informative, please hit that like button, share this with a fellow speller, and make absolutely sure to subscribe to the channel so you can crack the next code with us. Keep investigating, and I'll see you in the next explainer.